move over and let him over here?
Well, I don't know. Go back to Port of Entry if you're that old. When they had the porter in, I was chief inspector on the Port of Entry.
You're not that old.
And then I worked with taxation. I worked with taxation for 2 or 3 after they closed the port.
We've knocked it down already 2 or 3 times.
After Port of Entry closed, I rode the highway. That's all then. Collecting mileage tax. I don't remember what year that is. I think about 1938 or 39. Somewhere along there. After my senator died, I lost out.
Who's that?
Senator McDonald. That's in 1940, I believe he died.
Sir, what's your first name?
Herman, H-E-R-M-A-N.
Herman Padgett.
Herman, P-A-D-G-E-W-D, Padgett. Well, my politician died, and then I knew I was going to lose out, so my time in the States was over with.
Okay, today is July 19th.
Today's 18th.
19.
19th.
So 66.
You missed
Wasn't
your
Saturday
plane?
the 16th?
Have you missed your plane? This is Tuesday.
No, I haven't lost my plane.
Sunday?
Is it Tuesday?
All right, Saturday was
Well, yeah,
6.
we lost today somewhere. I don't know. I'll leave tonight. Tomorrow I'll be in Denver.
July 19th, 1988.
Yeah,
My name is Joe Todd, and this is an interview with Mr. Herman Padgett
that's right.
in Durant, Oklahoma.
Well, you're interviewing him. He's from California.
Yeah. What part of California do you live?
Burbank, California.
Burbank. I came to Burbank.
Yeah, I have 40-some odd years.
Sir, when were you born?
When was it?
Yes, sir.
November the 5th, 1902. Batesville, Arkansas. Stone County.
And who is your father?
Mr. Padgett was. N.O. Padgett.
Hmm?
N.O. Padgett.
N.O. Padgett.
Yeah.
And your mother?
Her name is Padgett too.
He was.
Yeah.
What was her first name?
Anna.
And what was her maiden name?
Greenway.
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 No, Murphy. She's a Murphy.
She married a Murphy. Her maiden name was Greenway.
Grandma was her mama. She's a Murphy.
Well, I thought he asked about
Your mama.
No, well, no, she was a Murphy. I
Her
thought
name
he
is
asked
Anna
about Grandma.
Murphy.
M-U-R-P-H.
H-R-W.
Murphy?
Yeah.
M-U-R-P-H-R-W-E.
See, she was this woman's sister.
Okay.
And she was the baby. This woman was.
And where are your parents from?
My parents?
Yeah.
Where were they from? Northeast Arkansas.
There you are. Both from Arkansas?
Yeah.
Well, Papa was born in Kentucky.
But they married in
Arkansas.
That old marriage license you had there, yes, showing me was in Oklahoma. I mean, there.
Any of your grandfathers in the Civil War?
I don't know anything about them. That's too far back in history. It might have been, but I don't know anything about that. It might have been.
How long did you live in Arkansas?
I left there, came to Oklahoma in summer of 1907. I was 6 years old when we landed in November after we got here, August.
Why did the family move to Durant?
Well, it's Indian territory and they quit fighting. Just that's it. I don't know. I don't know why they moved there.
Sue said they come for work schools.
They did. My dad's a carpenter, and it's still Indian territory when we came here. In 1907, it became, I believe, a state then.
Why Durant as opposed to anywhere else?
My granddad settled here before we got here. I don't know whether Sue knew when he come in 1906, I think. Didn't he?
I thought she said 7, didn't she?
Might have. He might have come just...
I think we all come kind of together.
Well, we had from January the 1st to August when we got here in August. I know that. That's all the difference. But she had I guess she'd have plenty of time to plant a tobacco field out there. So
What did the town look like in that year?
all mud holes and tin barns. There's still buildings here was built then, before then. Down on Main Street, there's buildings right down there now. It's been there all these years, other buildings.
Who was Durant named after?
Old man Durant.
Who was
Just
it?
reading that this morning.
Who was it?
Let me see, I forgot his name.
Well, I forget what it did. Dixon Durant, I
Yeah,
believe.
Dixon Durant.
Dixon.
And who was he?
Don't ask
Big
me.
Indian.
He was Indian?
Now that you pick that up and then what I'm giving you that in that little piece of paper to the library. Now the girls know about this. I said you'll be down there. And on that Red
Go
River
for
Dam.
5.
I was only looking up on the Red River Dam. Now they got the books on it. They got a picture of Bill Murray down there, and the soldiers stand at the end of the bridge. Now I just happened to think of that last night. You go down to the printing office there and ask for a seat of microfilm and back on that date. They don't have the papers anymore. But a friend of mine, I walked in, I hadn't seen him in 100 years. But he says, we have it on microfilm. They can blow it up the size of the newspaper. You can read it. But you go back to July the 10th, 1931. On that, on the Red River Dam. I mean, opening the bridge. That's what she wrote.
Did you go through high school here in Durant?
School? I didn't go to school at all.
I did went to grade school.
No, I only went into 8th grade, that's as far as I got.
What schools did you go to? The public schools here in Durant?
Yep, right down the street, the public school. I graduated from the grade school.
What year?
I don't know, that's too far back to tell me that, I don't know. I don't really know. Because I beat my mother home the first day I went to school for 2 or 3 days. Bring me to school, I beat her home.
Why?
Just didn't want to go to school. I didn't care about going to school when I was a kid. You didn't do it. That's different than me. After I got started, it's all right, but the seats wasn't tied down then. The teacher couldn't get me out of the seat either. Them seats moved. But we used to live way down there in the house. We lived in most of the houses. Rent come due every month. We had to move. We didn't have money to pay the rent.
He sacrificed his education for me and my sister and to help Dad make a living.
What, you start working then?
Worked all my life.
What kind of work you do after?
Any kind you want to do, I do it. When the war come on, I was an electrician. I do plumbing, electrical work, carpenter work. It don't matter. Painting.
What kind of work you do during the war?
I was an electrician. Construction.
Was that World War I?
I'm not that old when World War I. No, it's Second War I was doing this.
What'd you do World War I?
I was 16 years old. Nothing. That's my age. I worked on the farm for my granddad, the only uncle I had, the only one that had to go to war. I worked out on the farm during the war.
What'd you do in the farm?
Plowed, hoed cotton, whatever it was, chopped it. Just regular farm work.
Yeah, but walking plow or salted plow?
You walked in, I did. Walked behind them. But that's out here 8 miles west of town here on the farm my granddad had.
How much did you plow in one day with the walking plow?
Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about acreage. All I know now is just buy a 50-foot lot or 100-foot lot as far as I can get on acreage. But I don't know. I know I didn't hold the cotton like I was supposed to. Uncle got mad after he come back. I'd hoe out there about 100 yards on all them rows while I'd hoe in the day and go squirrel hunting. Told him about it, come back, and he worked for me then. And he said, well, I work like you work for me. I was getting 75 cents a day. I think I was getting $1. So he done some work for me, and he worked when he wanted to. Them too, just like I did. That was all right. But I've worked at everything. I worked in the grocery store when I first married, 12 and a half a week.
What store?
England's grocery store. He'd been out of business for years. I don't know how long.
When did you join the National Guard?
July the 6th, 1921.
Why did you join the National Guard?
Well, I thought it was sort of patriotic. Everybody, I think, is. Like the little boy wants to join the Boy Scouts. And that was after the war. I was in there 19 years and 2 months, and I had sick, had a year to live. I managed. I was in there then when they went to the Second War. We just come back from Louisiana off maneuver. And I don't exactly know what year that was, but they was mustered into the Federal service and never went home. I don't know exactly what time elapsed in there, but as in August in 1941, December the 7th, that's when we really got into the war, right then. But I've never figured out why, unless that was 41 in August, we went to Louisiana. I don't know the date on what it was or not.
Where'd you go for your basic training?
Training? We trained here. National Guards at the hometown business then. They go each year. We went to Fort Sill for years over summer. Then we went to Louisiana, went to San Antonio one year. And I think we went to Camp Coke one year. I'm not for sure. That's after I left here. Last time I went to was in Louisiana.
What type of training did you have in the summer when you went to Fort Sill?
What kind of training or what?
Yeah. You know, in the summer when you would go to Fort Sill, what would you do?
Well, it's just regular training like you would in any army. We had skirmishes like you fighting the enemy, no enemy to be found anywhere. They's there. Louisiana, we waded mud and everything else across country there, hunting the enemy, and then we could see them over there and didn't kill them. Of course, them Shalapa Indians thought they were real. They captured them, took all their clothes and stuff away from them. That was the funny part of that war.
What unit were you a member?
Huh?
What unit were you a member?
Howitzer Company, 45th Division, 108th Infantry.
180th Infantry?
Yeah. That was the 45th Division. In the 45th.
Now, the 45th was organized in 23. So, from 21 to 23, you were a member of what division?
Oh, I would use the 45th. Now, they changed that to something, and they changed the swastika on account of the Z, the German. Now, that might have been when the 45th went in. I don't know what that was before that. We did have a 36th with that, but I don't think that's a regular army during the war, I think.
Well, it was the National Guard that was taken in for the war.
I don't know what they... Well, the first war, I don't remember ever in the first war. I don't think we had a National Guard in the first war.
Yeah, it was 36th.
Huh?
And then they were, just like they did the 45th, they called them in the war, they called 36th in for the war.
Well, that was what I guess we had after the first war. We were still the 36th Division. That was in San Antonio, Texas, and my uncle and that. But the 45th come in there later on. I don't know how come that. They was always dividing up this and that. Texas part of it was in there, and Colorado part of that, and I don't know what else. They come to Fort Sill to train. They had the Air Corps in Colorado. They flew planes down here. I forget, they different ones they trained. We all went to San Antonio down in Texas, out in the shivers and mosquitoes and ticks, and we learned never to sleep under a tent, under a cot, on a tree in Texas.
What?
Ticks will fall all over you. You wake up the next morning, look on that cot there, thick. And on the trees.
How many times did the governor call out the National Guard while you were in?
Well, we was called out once to go to Hugo on a trial or where they thought there might be a riot. That's the only one down here we ever had an occasion for.
Tell me about that.
I don't remember anything, we just went over, that's all, from here. Went over, must have been 25 or 30 of us went over there.
What year was that?
No, that's too far, I can't tell you that either. I don't keep any records of that, but we was called out to go over there. On account they figured it'd be a riot, it was on a colored man or something, trial of murder. But they wasn't in trouble. The only thing about it, we managed to talk to the sheriff out of some whiskey. We done that. He coming home was all in that truck ready to have a gallon of whiskey.
Was it bootleg whiskey?
Yeah, we didn't have any but bootleg then, but we did good bootleg from certain ones. You knew them.
Who was the big moonshiner around here?
Huh?
Who was the big moonshiner around here?
Benny Hogan. He's down at Carver. They never bothered him. He walked down the main street with a gunny sack on his back, and they never stopped him. He made good whiskey, too. They never bothered him.
Why? Why wouldn't they bother him?
Huh?
Why wouldn't they bother him?
Well, he made good whiskey, and they drank it, too. Well, nobody than anybody else. Because you let one infringe on old man Benny Hogan, you'd get arrested. We had one Internal Revenue come here named Short, Lake Short. He was out of Washington, D.C. That was part of his business. He'd come through the port of entry, loaded down with whiskey, but he forgot to leave me, and he'd come up here and he'd give it all away before I got here. That was his evidence he got. But he came through later on, a number of years later, and that's after, I believe, he closed the port. He wanted to take some of the Senator to go in Washington, D.C. Well, we went to Toka County, if you know anything about this country down here. Up in the coal mines up there, they make good whiskey too. So we went up there and stopped at filling station. A friend of ours, a young fellow, worked there. Asked him where to get it, and he said, "Oh, go up there and go down that street there so far in a little house. Go in there." I told him, "Who sent you?" He went out and got the whiskey, brought it back, and I was a tester. I shook that quart and I said, "We don't want that kind. Take it back and get some good whiskey." We did. We brought it out good too. You can tell if you know anything about whiskey.
Why'd you shake it?
Bubbles up with water. Yeah, you shake it, a lot of bubbles come up, see. No, he went back and come back, the old charcoal in there. You can tell it's good, it was good flavor. But the man didn't know who he was selling it to. All three of us was officers. The other man was state and he was federal. But we wasn't doing anything about it anyway. He got his whiskey, took it to Washington, D.C.
Took to Senator Gore?
Yeah, it was Senator Gore. That's a long time ago.
Did you know him?
Huh?
Did you know him?
No. My dad knew them all. He could tell you the dates and everything and what they were and what they did and whether it was anything good or bad. He was pretty good at dates and things like that and names. Me just the other way. You told me what your name is, don't mean a thing to me. I won't remember 5 minutes anyway.
Now what's the second time, the next time you were called out to the National Guard?
We were never, we was only only out there 2 times that I know of. We thought once we were going to have to go over it wasn't in Arkansas. I forget where that was. They thought they might be called out. It was just been a nice trip like the Red River down there. That was all a sham, that opening that bridge. There was politics too, and he was only elected governor in January the 12th. He took office, 1931, and that was July the 10th. 1931, he opened that bridge.
Tell me the story about the bridge. What happened?
Nothing. Nothing happened. Rangers on one side of the river, we's on this side. Now you'll see there'll be a picture up there. If you take that right there, I'll give you. You'll see the picture. Old governor standing there at the end of the bridge talking to our men. That's a Company E, Infantry. They're standing there talking. That's all it was, guarding the end of that bridge. He wasn't going anywhere. The toll bridge is on down the road back, way back up and down there where it is, and that's where the boys is camped out. But there's automatically, 3 weeks more, and that bridge has automatically been opened by itself without anything. But they won't open it early. You pour cement, it's got to cure. Well, you have to give it time. You pour a highway and you see no traffic going on, It's got to set there and make the time before you put the traffic. You don't, you ruin it. That's all it was, that bridge. They had a conference out there every day out there in the cornfield. What'd they talk about? They ain't talking about that bridge. They ain't saying anything about that bridge. Politics and everything else besides the bridge. That's just a big publicity stunt. The old governor, you didn't know the governor. You're not that old. Old Bill Murray. You'll see his picture. He's standing in a white suit on in this book up there. And the soldiers there standing there too at the end of the bridge. And I'm sure you don't know how you divide a bridge between 2 states. How would you think they'd divide it?
I have no idea.
You got a road going this way, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
And a road coming this way, where you don't cut the bridge in 2 that way. Whenever you open one side of that bridge, the other one's the other side. They couldn't close our side of the bridge. Now they could close their side of the bridge, see? But that's just Rangers over there. They wasn't going to shoot nobody. We wasn't going to shoot nobody. They just, I forget how long we died. A week or 2 on that bridge, and there wasn't nothing to it either. I chauffeured this old colonel of mine. That's all I was doing. The governor come down, I chauffeured him.
Who is your colonel?
McDonald. John A. McDonald. He was on the staff of Oklahoma City, old General Barrett. He was adjutant general of the state of Oklahoma. His 2 sons is in there too, but I forget what their names were. I forget what I thought one of them, the oldest one was elected governor, but I don't know. I should have looked that up in the record. But seemed to me like that boy was a governor. Maybe he wasn't. They have so many governors after I left here.
Now, why did Governor Murray call out the National Guard? What was the reason?
Well, he wasn't going to let the toll bridge wasn't going to let these bridges be open. See, there's the ones that are actually protesting. They're losing money. The toll bridge. You read this article and you'll see when you go to the library, There's bridges in the state of Oklahoma is open at the same time as toll bridges across the rivers in the state of Oklahoma, not across the border. Because this half of this bridge belongs to Texas. Well, it's just one, like I say, it's one of just a political deal. The big publicity is all it was. But naturally, the man that owned the toll bridge didn't want the bridges open. You had one, I believe, at Marietta, and I think the one south of Hugo down there across from Redville. But he closed. I think there's two in the state. I forget. I just reading little sketches over today up there. But that was a private. If you navigate a river, I forget what it is about that. If you navigate a river, it's open to the public, see. So that and bridges, somebody individual might have built them, but I don't know how it is. But he took it away from me anyway. What it is, they couldn't charge anymore. There's no toll bridges in this state. Bill Murray's responsible for that. He was a corporate though. He was a farmer, an old farmer. Yes. And of course he filthy rich too. But you go to, when he went to Oklahoma City though, they'd been known to sit out on the curb and eat cheese and crackers. Now you didn't have to eat cheese and crackers. You had publicity. All it was. He was real nice. They're all nice if you know them at a time and hear them talk. Like me chauffeuring in a car. You hear them talk just sort of like anybody else. And talk about this thing like we would, see. They were all real nice. Like you didn't know, of course, E.W. Marlin, when he was a governor. He was the best governor they ever had in this state. He was a millionaire 3 different times, married his stepdaughter. And you ever been to Ponca City?
Yes, sir.
You ever see Marlin's home, the big statue? I chauffeured 2 senators up there one night in the Capitol, and he's parked out there, and I had on a light suit, and turned the northern right cold, the lights were cold to death, sitting out there waiting on them, and they both got drunk, the 2 senators. Sarge. Got the Sarge over there, and the governor, he made a speech to the governor, made one to me, and they didn't say a thing about me taking a drink either. There wasn't a thing in that building with a big marble floor and everything. All marble come overseas. He was a millionaire 3 times and lost it all. He lost that foreclosed on.
What rank were you when you were at the bridge?
Staff sergeant, I believe it was.
And how many men did you have down there?
I think it's about 15, 20 men down there. Now, I just about quoted one name today. I think he was down there, but I'd never heard of him for a long time. He was in company named Loper. That's all I can remember, Loper. I don't even know what his first name is.
You say Loper?
Yeah, somebody, Loper. I don't know. He's still, the man said his wife died not too long ago, a year or 2 ago, and Loper. He was in the National Guard, but nearly all the National Guards are all gone. I don't know one of the officers that's living.
Dewey Loper still lives here, but
That's who that was, Dewey Loper.
he's a big mason, but that's all I
Was
remember.
he on the bridge with you?
Yeah, he was down there, but see, I wasn't in this outfit as on the bridge. I was on the state. See, I was with the I belonged to a company in Pawnee, Oklahoma. Never made a formation with it. Mine's political, that part of it, for 10 years. Old General Barrett. I forget what my duty. He thought I knew what my duties were, but I didn't. I didn't have his duties except chauffeur that old colonel. That's my duty. But,
What'd you do besides chauffeur the colonel?
nothing. That's all. I was splice on this Oucher Company outfit for 10 years. And then this old colonel come in, another man, a young fella, captain in the outfit. And he was yellow-bellied as he could be. I said if he ever went to war, he'd never fight, and he didn't either. He was a guard wasn't a guard officer in a prison camp. The only thing about it, we went to Fort Benning, Georgia, and I loaned him $50. And I used to make money on loaning money. At 50, I'd get 100 back. I didn't charge him any interest. I didn't get the $50 back. I finally did go at Fort Sill the last time I was ever at Fort Sill. I made it a point he was going to pay me then or else. He paid me. But he never would do. But I got out of that outfit then. And, well, I didn't get out of his outfit. I I got out of the outfit though, and I went on this other with a Pawnee, Oklahoma. That I forget what outfit that was. I don't even remember. I was never there anyway. Didn't make any difference. But I come on out of Oklahoma City on like a quartermaster out of that. So that's all of that up there was a quartermaster in Oklahoma City. So.
Why were you in the Pawnee unit?
Well, I really don't know. At that time, I forget what unit that was, so that's why I was trying to think. I don't remember what it was. But I never made a formation in the whole time I was in there. I don't even know where the Army was either. I just know where Pawnee is, see.
Well, what unit did you make formations with?
One down here, any one of the outfits. I even made a formation in California and got paid for it. I was out there one time on a visit. Well, I was in 1926, I was in California. And I left. I didn't know whether to be back here or not. I went to the Armory out there and I sent a card back. I made the formation, got paid for it. Back here.
Do you remember when the governor called out the National Guard for the coal mines?
Not the coal mines, not the coal mines. Yeah, that mine. It was a Hugo, they called them out there. They might. That's when I said they thought they might have a riot on this kind of a trial over there, but they didn't. They didn't have any riot. Everything was peaceful. A lot of people at that courthouse in Hugo at that time, but they figured it was going to be something trouble going. See, down in this part of the country, here, black people in this town never lived in this town. They run them out in about, I guess 1910 or 11, somewhere 12, around about then. Telling one of the girls about today at the library about a black man came through here and out on North 2nd out there. Hobo. He raped a woman and killed her. Well, don't worry, they got where I am. When I went here, we call them niggers. We call them black people now. And out in California, you don't say nigger, you don't say, you say black people. You don't want to say anything else. You say black. They're black, all right. They're real nice. We got a lot of them in church out there. Black, real nice too.
They drug him down the streets and burned him at the stake.
Huh?
They drug that nigger down Main Street and burned him at the stake.
Yeah, but they first they was going to kill a colored man, or a black man, or a nigger. Well, they killed one. They never done well. They killed the right one or not. They got him somewhere out east here. Come to town, brought him to town, tied him behind a car, and drug him all up and down the street, take him behind on Lost Street down there, tied him to a stake, and burned him right there in town. Well, they never was anything said about him not being the right man. See, if he'd had the right man or the wrong man, it wouldn't have made any difference. From that day on, there wasn't any black people lived in this town. You come to town, you slept in a jail or a depot. Then you ate in the back of cafes like a hog, a dog after you eat out on the outside. I always felt sorry for them, just because one bad one in that barrel wasn't saying it all bad. I saw they're working in this town, Roxy, I see.
Oh, yeah.
Here back again.
They
had slaves that handed down family to family living here then, when that happened. They had to get shut up too. There wasn't nobody here after that.
Was the KKK strong around here?
Huh?
Was the KKK pretty strong in this area?
Yeah, they were back there, but they didn't do anything. Just big. That's just a big show. I was in. One time I was in Fort Sill, and they had a big parade right down the main street. That was 1921 or 22. It was 22. They marched down that street. They didn't do anything about that. They might have some down further in the south in places, but they got the blame for it anyway. Oh, they burned a cross here and there, but they didn't mean anything. But they were pretty strong. They still are at times. You see a lot about them once in a while.
Governor Murray closed the oil fields.
Huh?
Remember when Governor Murray closed the oil fields?
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he called out the National Guard, closed the oil fields, and he had the National Guard patrolling the oil fields.
But we didn't, in this county at that time, we didn't have an oil field here. That come in later. That come in about the time I guess I went to California just before that.
When did you go to California?
When did I go to California? Huh? It's 40-something years ago.
Why did you go to California?
Money. Well, I tell you, it's during the war. I was doing electrical, plumbing construction. I was in I was in Louisiana on a job down there, and I went there and I told my brother, I said, I saved $1,000 and I'm gonna leave. And on July the 4th I got in there. Well, in November I had that 1,000 saved. And my boss was gonna quit every day. He's gonna quit, he's gonna quit. He's out there. He lived in Lake Charles, Louisiana. He had to drive, I don't know how many miles to get down there. Well, he got down and every day he was gonna quit. Sure enough, he did quit. Well, business agent, steward, superintendent, hunting me, found me sitting there in a little closet, waiting to put the sellotape on the wall so I put a picture in there. I got a job up here for me. He took me up there and looked around. I said, where's the material? He said, well, that's up to you. You're the boss now. So I was the boss. I had a nice job, all right. So I went along there for a month or more. And I wanted to get off in November to come up here and go bird hunting. He said he couldn't do it that way. I said, well, if you can't, I'm worth more money. I said, if I don't get more money, I'll be gone Friday, have my check ready, and I didn't get the money. So I left. But I knew I had a job on the Kansas and Oklahoma line, Parker City, Oklahoma. All I had to do was go up there. I went up there, got off the train, and snow and ice everywhere. 4 o'clock in the morning. And I went to work out on that refinery on Loomis Construction. And they were going to California to build a refinery just like the one they's on. Well, my wife, folks, have been out there ever since the second year after we married, so I went on out to thought I was going to state of Washington. You follow the big jobs, see, you know where the big jobs are. So, but that was a good outfit to work for, Loomis. So I went down, put in an application down there, and the old union, they're glad to get people. I said, where's the job? He said, out on the boat, ships. I said, not me, tear it up. But I'm gonna work on this out there, electrician on the boat. I wish I had though. It's different than wiring this house or anything else. You only have one wire. You only need 2 wires. It's already grounded all everything else, water and steel, see. But I wish I'd went out this experience, but I went over and signed up another union, a port of embarkation. And building's 2 or 3 blocks long. It just one right after the train just backed down and right up beside it and load them up and going overseas. Well, that was a 40-some odd mile drive from my house down in Burbank down there. It was Glendale then, where I was at the Long Beach. I don't like that traffic. You wouldn't need it if you lived in. So my brother-in-law says, well, why don't you go to work in the studio? I said, you just don't go to work in the studio. You used to didn't just go to work in the studio, but you do if you know how. If somebody's in there, get you in there, it's the only way then. But during the war, anybody, that was essential. If you worked in the studio, you didn't have to go to work. They made war pictures, see? Everything. You had a lot of them been for camouflage, too. Everything. So I went to work in the studio.
Which one?
That was, that was a little old studio, that and that when I went to work there as a man. Oh, a little offshoot from Columbia Studio. I worked for Columbia, Columbia, Monogram, Paramount, Warner Brothers.
What'd you do for them?
Disney's and Universal. Huh?
What'd you do at the studios?
I was a carpet maker for them. Carpet, that's what it is.
What's some of the movies that you worked on?
You never you don't work with the name of it, you work on numbers. We never worked on a picture with you except the last one I worked on. Hellfighters. You know what that is? They didn't either when they saw that sign up my car driver. What kind of religion you fighting now? Hellfighters. What denomination's that? That's the name of the picture. Hellfighter. The man's up and trying to put out that fire now.
That red Adair?
Yep. That's a John Wayne picture. That's the last I worked on. That's in Houston, Texas. That was 3 months down there, and that was all like the politics down on the bridges. All them oil wells burned up when they was in Capital Wyoming 5 oil wells. But there wasn't any oil in them wells, Joe. It was there, but it wasn't natural. And the one in Louisiana burned up, it wasn't no oil there. Right? Red Adair says, it's a bigger fire than I put out. He said, yeah, but I can turn mine off and you couldn't. He did burn up a well there one night about 3 o'clock in the morning. But all the rest of the wells in Louisiana, it wasn't wells. It just a lot of iron piled up all around it. Just a fake, just looked like it.
Let me ask, when you were on the bridge, did you camp out down there on the bridge?
Heck, no.
Where'd you stay?
Not us politicians.
Where'd you stay?
I stayed home at night. The old colonel didn't stay down there in the tent. We privileged characters. We roll a, that's all the job we had. He did, and I was his bird dogs, he'd call it. If you was in the Army, you know what a bird dog is. You just flunk him with a captain, a colonel, a lieutenant. You never march
I
up.
seen a movie about Bill Murray making a speech at the bridge. Were you there when he made his speech at the bridge?
Yeah, I did. I don't know as I did, so I never paid any attention to Bill Murray. He wasn't any more than me and you were. I didn't care anything about Bill Murray.
What kind of man is he?
Oh, Bill Murray?
Yeah.
Just plain old country man, just like anybody. He's really country. He lived up at Tishomingo. But when he's governor, I think he lived at Broken Bow, Oklahoma, over east. I'm not sure, but actually I think Tishomingo, I think, is where he originally was, all his stomping ground. But he was just as honored as he could be. He looked like a tramp. He wasn't broke. He just plain old common, just like the picture of him, old John Wayne. He's the nice actor you ever seen in your life. Most of them ain't worth a darn. They wouldn't even talk to working stiff, but you wind up at the end more money than they've got. John is just a plain old country boy too, but Bill Murray was sure enough just a plain old country boy. We went down on them men out there. They treated us like royalty when we was down there. They was doing something for us all the time. And we went down there one day, Sunday on I don't know what that was. It went from down to the coast. They had races down there. You'd talk about boats, and you'd have to watch the rivers there on account of timbers being in there. There's always, they go fast, them boats they had too. They sound like a jet take it off. They have a race down there. Different class boats. Well, the old boy, the big boat they was on, I felt sorry, but you never wear this kind of shoe on the boat. You wear something soft. They ruined the bow of that boat, walking all over the top of that thing. So you should see all the eats they had, the drinks, everything. Everybody down there having a big time. I don't know who's paying for all this. People down there, I guess. Had everything to eat. I felt the old doctor had it running about 3 or 4 foot of water there. The old doctor going out there and made it old. Well, they had a stringer in the middle and one on each side. It's about 3 foot wide. Some of the boards out. I went and got some boards to put in place, and I slipped and fell and went right down the side of his leg. I went over the first day, and the old gal said something about dropping your pants. I said, heck, they got to take them off. Don't bother me. I said, my leg hurts. He just rasped my leg. He says, I'll take care of you. Give me a autograph of John Wayne. I says, that's nothing. Just go on when he got through. He'd write them all day long. He jumped off that boat of his, went through that himself. He was so big, the old board breaks. He went down. Man, he hit the bottom. The old dock run out there.
Tell me some more about early day Durant.
Early days?
Yeah.
Well, there wasn't nothing here in the early days. We was here when we came here. There wasn't a paved street in this town. The town is on the south side, east side of these railroads. The north side of the town was built up all since 1907. Oh, there's buildings scattered here all over. Right where I own a Burbank in 1926, there wasn't nothing in Burbank where I own a home now. Just
You want to see the horse and buggy roads,
Just
streets?
pea patch, all there was out there.
Now, there's barely room for 2 cars to pass.
When they paved the streets in Durant?
Oh, I really don't know. You can get that record down at the library if you want to look at that. They give you a whole story of the record there. I know when they paved it first, you don't know it. I don't maybe uncover it now, but that street is brick. I know you talk about ocean waves, it's brick, it's sink sea. But they blacktopped that and all that, no signal lights and nothing. And the main street, there wasn't anything. The fire stations, the old building's gone right now. It was right there on Main Street between second and
Horses.
second and fourth, second and fifth. No, it's fourth and fifth. On the south side, an old vacant building there. That was there for years and years. And
Had horses.
where the city hall was, it used to be the jail and the courthouse, post office and everything else. And where the old original post office used to is now, was the tin barn. And that post office built there. It's post office right here now. That was down in town. There's nothing down in town. Home's Funeral Home is on the corner of 3rd and Main, southeast corner of it. The old building on the other corner had been there. That was remodeled from the original. But you go down to that old hotel down there, that old hotel down on East Main has been there ever since 1900 and something. But there's another right on down there, half a block, 2 old stone buildings. Was there in 1907. I don't know how long they were there before that. But, we stayed in that with the rats crawling all over the place. Now the Market Square they got here, there was a hotel on the east corner of Evergreen and 1st Street there. That burnt down now. That's where we used to have vaudevilles here when I was a kid, and that's where they all stayed there at that hotel. It burnt down. That was the end of that. Never was anything in the port. Right across the street was an old house, maybe like that, and sitting across the street there. Great big old tree right on the corner. That was an L-shaped lumber yard. I've slept in the hay wagon right there at night. Come in. Yeah. That was that's still an old vacant lot now. It's been there for 100 years as a parking lot. What's that across the street? Is that the farmer's market?
Yeah.
Across there. That was just a building built for farmers. There's a parking lot there. And old church, I noticed the churches, that old church pictures in that book I just brought you. It was there in 1900. I don't know when they built that church, so.
I got it up there.
Huh?
I got one up there on that plate.
Yeah, but it don't tell you when it was first built, does it?
I don't know. I can't read it.
I know it's an old church. It was there in 1907. When we came here, it was there then.
Did you have wagons in the farm?
Huh?
How many wagons did you have in the farm?
One, that's enough.
One?
We never did.
He didn't live on the farm.
I didn't live on the farm.
We've
but I
always
did work. Oh, my God.
We always lived in town.
My uncle, he lived out south of town. My granddad in 1906, 7, they lived south of town. Well, about 3 or 4 miles out there.
You ever work on the wagon?
Yeah, you work on that. You have to keep the spoke tied up, put the grease after and all that. That's when I was a kid. Just like in here, you work on no Ford too. But
How do you keep the rims tight?
water.
Water?
It's swell, yeah. They still places, they make those wheels too. They use wagons a lot too. They'll still make them. But that's the only way you tighten them is soak them in water. They'll shrink and they pass them together and everything. And nowadays they fix them where they wouldn't do that. But olden days is different. I look across the country when I'm flying across the country, how these people ever went west. How they ever figured to get over some of these mountains that you can't hardly get over after they build a highway over it. They made it, and of course they didn't know in the time when they went on the northern route to go to Oregon and Washington. That's nothing but mountain that part of the country. I come across the other day from Los Angeles to Denver. And you talk about mountains, that's all I saw. You don't see places, buildings at all. Going down the southern, coming straight through from Los Angeles to Dallas, you will see a lot of farm country, houses. You don't go up further north you see less. Of course, they're running out of land, but there's millions and millions of acres, not a thing on. But they've been time. 100 years from now, there'll be a lot of places there because the roads everywhere. First time I went to California, wasn't any roads hardly then. In 26. There wasn't no roads. Half of them just plain gravel or dirt roads. You'd have gravel on, but then you'd bog down.
Tell me about that trip to California.
Trip? Yeah. Well, I left here once, I think September, $50 to go 1,200 miles. And I got there on that $50 too. I had 50 cents left. And I pulled right up in front of my mother's house. I'd never been in California, but she's direction, come out just right to go to the street and turn to the left, go down a few blocks, and there she was. Got there that night, Next morning, the old lady lived there. Says, "How did you get in here?" I said, "I walked." She said, "Well, that dog don't let anybody come in." Now, she introduced the dog to you, is all right, but she didn't have to. That dog let me in there for something. But she said that dog wouldn't let anybody in. Well, I went to work there as a colored boy, rolling mud and brick, a bricklayer there. The meat market next door to me, he needed a meat cutter. $35 a week. Well, I switched jobs, that's easy, but it's every day in the weekend. They never put doors in buildings in California in 26.
What part of California?
That was in Glendale then, that part. But then, it didn't rain like it does now. It used to never rain at the mountain. It did it straight down. They never put a door like that on it. The big doors in the big business. Scissor type, just metal doors, it's all. They roll the produce out on the sidewalks there and sell it, but never put a door. But now, I walked out from where we had a little old store there down off the main dragon. Cloudy, I said, "Boy, it's going to come a flood. Where you from?" "Oklahoma." I said, "It's not going to rain." You did, it poured down. The street is running full of water. But it don't rain in the summertime in California. All around Los Angeles. It rains in the wintertime. That's when they get it all. Oh, it still changes a lot. You get a flood one night, never rain them again at all. It's changing like everything else. This town hasn't changed much in 60, 70 years.
It has.
No, they built north and west in this town.
This part's the same.
The south part and the east side, all of it, has practically stayed the same all these 70, 80 years. And I don't know, they just never, people, I went out to cousin's home, she growed up here, didn't have a dime. But she married an old boy, and I have a sneaking idea he must have interest in that company he worked for. I don't tell you. Been there I think he said 35 years and retired from it. Where is it? He wasn't in Pennsylvania. Where was he?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Was it
Worked for Chris.
Crest Company? He might have had stock in that outfit. Didn't you say he went back there not long ago?
Oh, yeah. Went back there for 2 weeks.
Well, he had something to do back there more like with Crest. Well, he's nice, so I don't know him. I was invited out Sunday evening, I believe, was it yesterday? And have a dessert.
No,
Ice
we
cream?
won't not do that, and let me call it back.
He read a newspaper whole $1.07. That didn't bother me. Who's calling now?
Oh, my girlfriend.
Who?
My girlfriend.
Oh, well, you got shut her, didn't you? That was This town has grown, though. It's grown. I don't know where you get the population of it. I don't know what it is now, but when I left here, I think it's about 10,000. It can't be much more than that now.
When did they start the college over here?
That college is built, they built that building after we came here in 1907. My man is a cornerstone out there to tell you on that. But I know they was working on that right there, and that was the only building, the one that sat there in the center. Every bit of those buildings have been built all of these years since. There wasn't but one building that started that college. They've got them all over the country and on land all around there too, still building. Well, I think for every trade deals they have a building for out there. And all the dormitories and everything.
You got a good college.
Huh?
University. It's a university.
No, it was
Used to be
went to the
college.
university of this town, it wouldn't be one thing here. I don't know how many hundred people, 1,000 go there. How many have you got?
I
You
don't
know? It's a big enrollment. That's one of them, about the only thing that keeps this town up is that college. A lot of people go to it.
When you were a small boy, what'd you do for recreation? Like what kind of games you played?
Oh, we play hopscotch, play the tops, go swimming. Around down the creek there, 6 foot deep, the most part you'd find for a little old branch down here. First thing and the other is when you skip, play cowboys just like anybody else. First air rifle we got, me and my friend, we'd lay under them old peach trees and kill all them sparrows. Fun of it. Well, just every day, like kids, then, same as now, they all get together, we would, on Sunday.
No, they don't do that now. They sit in front of the TV and play games.
Do
on
they?
it.
I'm not that
VCRs
far. I
or
don't
whatever
see,
they
I'm
call
not
it.
around the kids enough to know. But, oh, we had a good time saying then as you do now, not as wild a time, I guess. You grow up, we always got together on Sunday, all the kids did. After we got teenagers, we did then. But I've lost track of all the, I don't know the 2 or 3 names of kids I went to school with when I went to school. And one of my friends, I don't know whether he's still living, he's in Chicago, he worked for Al Capone, he had a good job. That's about the, we both left here about the same time. I went hoboing around for the fun of it, and he was too, and that was where his father came from, Chicago. And he had relatives back there, so he went back. And he never did come back here except one time and worked and muddied. Wife don't remember that one bit. I said, we used to go over and play dominoes at the old house. And then there was a falling down then. That was back about 27, 28. But I've never seen him since that he left here the last time. I started there one time and got as far as Kansas City, and I was pulling a 20-foot trailer, and it had been raining so hard. Everywhere I'd been for the last week, all down the southern states, New Orleans, Mississippi, Missouri, Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, and all. And every time I turned around to come to New Orleans, I thought I was going to drown all over everything, and bar ditches, and highways, practically running over water. I lost the trailer one night and went back and couldn't find it. Darn mosquitoes and moved it over another block. Well, they don't worry, they were so thick. You ever been to New Orleans?
Yeah.
But I didn't go across the longest bridge pulling that trailer. I went around the other way. Since just the same, I wound up over there where it was anyway. That trip, it rained all the time. Coming to Fort Smith, Arkansas, stopped there and was putting up a carnival. I went over and visited them. Then I went up to Missouri. And when I wound up, I think that's the trip where I turned around and come back to California. But I never left Kansas City. I called him up and talked to him. I hadn't talked to him in I don't know how many years, and he knew my voice. He always called me Pat. So if I had his phone number, I'd call him again. I don't know how to get a hold of him now.
You said when you left here, you went hoboing?
Yeah, just killing time, riding in a train. But I didn't ride like a lot of the hobos, though. I rode style. I rode Pullmans on top of them.
How do you jump a freight?
How do you get on one?
Yeah.
Well, don't try to get one to move, and you're liable to get you. I got on one in Oklahoma City and Piping down. If I hadn't had the strength, I wouldn't have been here today. That thing straightened me out. You never get a coal car or the other little small car. Tank car. Never get a tank car or coal car. They'll throw you right on this. I grabbed that train, it was going faster than I thought it would. Boy, it straightened you right up to the side of it. That's when they throw you right on it. And men working on that railroad up there thought, we're going to pick him up directly. They didn't. But I always rode the Pullman. I like the Pullmans better. Get on top of them, ride on. Of course, I got kicked off more than once. You'll never be awake when it kicks you. You get drunk. Got kicked off Polka City's cousin's husband working in the depot there. Got one of the colored man's going to whip me because I guess he thought I was a conductor. I told him I didn't make a difference where I went. He wanted to go to Oklahoma City, and I didn't know where he was at and didn't care. Well, he went to Oklahoma City. I don't know how he got to it and didn't care, but he thought I was telling him wrong. But I fell in that cold guard. That's the night I got pulled off in Polka City. That cop took me down there and put me off the right of way and went along and he asked me again. Well, yeah, I made up my mind to going out of town. I went out too. He chased me up and down that railroad track more than once that night. They said he was a mean one too. Said he put you in jail. Well, he didn't get me. When that train went out, I did too. It was a freight. He took me off. He was nice. He just took me off out the platform. Well, I got pulled off more than once.
And how do you eat when you're on the freights?
Huh?
How do you eat on the freight train? Where do you get your food when you're...
You get off. You don't stay on forever. You get off the train wherever you want to. You don't have no ticket. It's as good anywhere you're going.
See what I told you?
Where were you going?
Nowhere, just anywhere, it didn't matter, never. You know, a man, just killing time like that, you don't have any special
He
place
wasn't
to go.
very old then.
What do you mean? I think I'm 20 years old then, when I'm doing that. You're just killing time, you know, just seeing the country. I was sitting in Paul's Valley one time, right back behind a coal tender. A couple of trains I sat and took the engine off, and he took me off too. I always had money in my pocket too. So he led me off, and I went and bought me a ticket to the little train that went over to Sulphur, and this lady sitting here, her husband and them lived there. And then I got left there. He worked for a Coffee Ice Cream Company. So I rode to Ardmore on top of the milk truck. That's them milk cans. All the way to Ardmore, I guess 50, 60 miles. I thought, well, I'll go home from Ardmore to Durant. And at the milk, from Ardmore to Midvale to Durant. I got on the wrong highway. That 25-mile walk. I was all day. And I knew the train went down that track too. Freight trains and passenger trains. Every evening one to leave Ardmore going east. Well, I missed the whole business until I got about a mile of Midvale. Never was a thing come across that road. I was on a detour, 25 miles. My feet just walked all day long and told. I caught that train all right and rode from Midvale to out here 8 miles of home and got off. I was black as that camera there. He's pour steam on coal to make it better, see. I was getting black over there, and I was blacker than black. Ace of spades. I cleaned up before I ever got home. Well, I never got into any trouble. No.
I was going to ask, who notified you that you were coming down the bridge?
Who notified us?
Yeah, who called you? They said you were being called out to go down the bridge.
Well, the governor got a hold of the officer, had to get a hold of the officers here. You just don't, and that day you don't call them out. That day you didn't, it's a different system on the National Guard today than it was 40 years ago, after the Second War. The National Guard's on the same rating as the Army is today, see. So you pay the same for everything. Pension and all, no pension up until the Second War, the National Guard, they is today. If I had stayed in there 18 months, I could have drawn a pension, but I couldn't stay. But,
How come you couldn't stay?
I was sick. I only had a year to live when that went to the Second War.
You were sick. What was wrong with you?
I drank all the time. I was dying from drinking. I had water in my system. I had big ankles, gaining weight all the time is all water. Oh, I had an out, drink it and die later on. He might have been true. If I'd have went in the Army, could have went, I'm more likely kept drinking. And I might have done just like he said, drink it and die. Thought I'd have been away from home, see. But I made it all. But to call them out, it has to come from the government. Nobody can call the National Guard out except the governor, unless it's wartime. The United States president could call you out then. Every state would be called.
Who is your commanding officer?
Well, I had, I forget the one in Pawnee, what his name was. Colonel MacDonald's was the one that I was under all the time before I was here. And he was a captain of this outfit, the Howitzer Company, 180th Infantry. Then Don Axon, captain of Company E. But there's then when John is appointed colonel, he lost that job as captain. Bill Atkinson took that over Howitzer Company. And then we had 2 or 3 good lieutenants in there. Every one of them is not an officer that was living during the Second War is living now. Every one of them is dead in this town. I know every one of them too. Some of them officers, Second War was in the First War too. Our colonel was in the First War. Don Atkinson, he's in the First War. I don't know whether Skeet was or not. He might have been. But Capshaw, I think he was in the Second. Lama Shannon was the nicest lieutenant I've ever seen. He wound up as a minister.
Well, anything else about the bridge or the National Guard or?
But the bridge, you go down and go in there and take that again. Don't lose that paper. She wrote that all down. Now that's the book you have to refer to. And you'll see a picture in there of old Bill Murray talking to the soldiers at the end of that bridge.
Were you there when he was talking to her?
I don't know whether it was or not. Oh, I was down there. I might not have been down there when he was over at that bridge, but he come down there. He come down. They go out in the cornfield and sit down and talk about nothing. They just out there gabbing. Might have had a few drinks, of course, but you see, the sergeant didn't sit in on it with the governor, except when he was in the car.
What kind of car were you driving?
Huh?
What kind of car were you driving?
The Buick.
Buick?
I never drove one before in my life. When I got in the thing, tell you how good it was. I running off the edge of the bridge. He was in there too.
The governor?
Yeah. He didn't say anything though. But the bridge a little narrow, and that's the way the things were around this town country then. They're still narrow too.
Is that bridge still down there?
The old toll bridge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't use it. Oh, some of them farmers may, but there's no toll to it though.
I rode across it here, several years ago.
Did you? I ought to go see that old bridge someday. That was very
Is that the bridge that you went down to?
That's the bridge that they closed. The old toll bridge. That's an old wooden.
That's not the one you guarded, though.
No, the Garden's one on the main highway now. The bridge is open then. They're talking about, is that the bridge they're going to tear down and build another?
Yeah.
That bridge is built and nothing wrong with it. They're going to build another. Tear it down. It's a big steel structure, but I found out you don't need that. Look at that Pontchartrain Bridge. They're not steel stuff there. And the other one over at Tampa Bay, have you ever been across that long bridge? Well, they said it couldn't be built. Man, Guy Atkinson built that, the same as built this dam down here, California. It's just a long bridge, swampy land across there. I don't know how long it is. How many miles one in New Orleans, Lake Pontchartrain? That's a long one though. I didn't want to go across that one without pulling that trailer. I thought, well, I can't back it up. If I did, I'd back it off of it.
Okay, well, I appreciate the information you gave us.
But you can go on that bridge now. You read the article there. There'll be more than one little sketch. And then go down and ask the printing office there. That's altogether different printing office what it was when I worked in one. They don't have all the equipment you see, linotype and everything else. I don't know what they don't have anything. Look to me like they run a printing office, but they get it done though. Anyway, go in there and ask him about it, and he told me, he says 1931. Instead of keeping the papers, they used to stack them. I know when I was there, we had a balcony back in there. They always saved papers of every issue. Go somebody come up 10, 15 years later and want to know about an article about so-and-so. We passed a law and they don't have any record of showing. They go back to the old paper and show where the law was passed, see, or it wasn't. But now he says, told me today, he says, no, we don't keep the papers anymore. It's all on microfilm. And he says we can show the film any size you want it, just projects it out there, the size just like the newspaper. So he more than likely might get some. I imagine out home I have some articles and all where the photographs are and all that. And pictures, they got albums in there somewhere of articles, see. But I'm sure you get all the information you want about that bridge as far as I'm concerned, because it was more of just a big publicity stunt for the old governor. He was always
He
doing
didn't
something.
even take my picture out on the announcement.
Huh?
He didn't take my picture. He took yours.
I gotta come back and talk to you.
What about?
Well, about Durant and all that.
I don't know nothing.
She was small showing up when she first come here.
Come here in 1906 in August, and I was a year old in September, and I stayed till I was 18. I left town. I stayed 42 years.
Well,
Back there. Look at you. Gonna take my picture.
well,
What's your name?
Roxy Davis.
Roxy Davis.
I've been gone so long.
If you want Padgett in there, I'm a Roxy Padgett Davis.
I've been gone so long that everything, nothing changed as far as I'm concerned. It's the same thing as far as I'm concerned. Especially, except, I see things here. The town is dead as it can be. I never would have retired if I lived here. Couldn't have made the money. I don't know how people live here. I think it's just trade money.
His brother's out at college.
If he's teaching school out there, it's something else different. That's what keeps this place going, is that college.
Ask your brother what they're gonna do with old President Hibbs. Squash it.
What the president do?
Well, he stole about $1.5 million.
Well, that's nothing. What do you think he's working for out there?
Boy, it's up in the federal courts. They
Yeah,
don't
it's all
squash
right.
it.
Well, if
It'll
it's-
be squashed. You'll never
Well,
hear more about it.
he may have to squeal on somebody else. So there's.
That's it. There's some more people in on it.
Well,
He ain't gonna
certainly,
pop off.
you don't usually get that much money by yourself. What's
Boy, he quit the very day that they got him. He resigned.
He did.
Yeah.
Who
But the
appointed-
crazy fool bought a house and stayed here.
Who appointed him?
I don't know.
How long have you been there?
I don't know really.
Well, the state school superintendent usually has something to do with all that. Don't know.
I don't have any idea.
Well,
Anyway,
almost out of tape.
politicians, it's all politics. Like the girl that stayed with us, they didn't have a job for her. I took her to Oklahoma City and she hadn't got more money working than anybody else. I happened to have a friend, Joe Scott, I knew him, he was state school superintendent.
But when I went to school, they had a high school department. And I went to what they call Russell High School at the college.
Yep.
That's where I graduated.
I don't know whether you went to college on a scholarship or nothing,
Yeah.
but ever, so many of these kids all work their way through school.
Yeah.
This girl, the old lady, was president from Ardmore. That's how she got the job, so she didn't have a job for this girl. Everybody else does, and she lived over, what's Madill County, what's that county?
That's
Carter?
No, Carter's
No.
Ardmore.
Marshall.
Yeah, Marshall. Well, Marshall, their quota's filled. I took her to Oklahoma City and the senator went up and I did, and Joe Scott and her. She had the highest paying job they had out there to work, to go to school. We only lived out there just a couple of blocks of street from the school. No, we lived over at the new house then. I know business has got good since I left here. I sold one piece of property, a house, for $1,500. And the girl later says, I picked up the bank foreclosed on who owned it, and she says, I paid $15,000 for it, and I sold $1,500. And the other one I sold was a friend, known him all of his life. It was a brand new home. I was going all the time, so Dad came to California and says, why don't you sell that? If you ever come back, you build another. So property wasn't higher then at all. I sold it for $3,000, and the home I bought cost $4,200 in California, and mine's worth at least $100,000 now, and it's not worth a dime more than it was the day I built it and bought it. But I asked the girl today, she paid $3,000 for it, and I paid $4,200 for mine in California. I says, fair question, don't mind telling me, how much did you sell it for? She says, $19,000. I said, now wait a minute, $19,000, I sold to you for $3,000, I make $16,000, you owe me $8,000.
It's crazy.
But I always felt sorry for somebody that don't have anything. I didn't have anything. I could afford to give it to her at that time. I didn't, so I could still give it to her, but she don't own it. But she got that much money out of it. She made money out of it.
He told me today he didn't like my car. He was going out to Chevrolet and trade it in and get me a new one. I said, go ahead. He come in my car, though.
Yes, I come in your car.
He didn't bring me
No,
that.
I wanted to find some information. I bought a little old Chevy 4-cylinder in February. I got stuck on that thing, too. I had to pay for the registration December, January, and February. I didn't own the car back then. I just bought it in February. Well, you still have to pay for back or a registration now. I forget $100 and some odd dollars it cost me. I think Marty's little car cost over $300.
Don't buy a Chrysler Dodge. I wouldn't recommend it to nobody.
Oh, I don't like them either, but that's that little Chevy. That's Chevy. She got a Pontiac with a Chevy motor than that. See.